What's up, guys? Welcome back to the garage. Today we are going to be working on the $100 Honda Foreman 450S 2001. We've got her situated right here, ready to go. I'm not going to get too much or blabber on too much here because I want to get straight to work. But today I'm going to start tearing the front end apart. Mostly to start patching the front frame up so I can start using this thing, as well as I'll be able to pull the diff out at the same time as well and sort of assess what's going wrong inside the diff, or if it even is the diff. Could be the drive shaft, but we're going to find out. Little update, I'll be real quick about this. I did get a few things in. You may have saw at the end of one of the last videos, there was a part that came in for this. It was the voltage regulator. I didn't make a video of it because it was a pretty easy process. But right up there, you can see that thing. That's the voltage regulator. Swap that out, $28 on Amazon. Cheap Chinese replacement. People warn you about this stuff, the Chinese stuff. Especially when it comes to electronics, because it is cheap. But it would have been about $90 to $100 for a proper Honda one. And I would have been an even longer wait trying to get it. So that solved the problem with the battery not charging. She's still running great. The thing is an absolute beast. I had it out last weekend with my wife on the Polaris. And the thing does awesome. It runs, doesn't skip a beat. Love it, but I don't want to push it too far with that front frame being rotted out, because the last thing I want is to completely collapse the front end, and then from there it's a huge salvage project, and or it's just garbage because everything's thrown out of geometry and you'll never get it back to where it should be. So today the whole front end's coming apart, and by the front end I mean the A-arms, front CV shafts, the diff, knuckles, wheels. Basically strip it down to basically the bare front frame where everything needs to be patched. I did get a new tire on the front here. This is that spare one I was showing you guys that came with the 300. It was actually a 12-inch, which fit the Foreman rims. I did this myself. I wouldn't recommend doing that, only because I did it with a couple tire forks. And these old steel rims and a tight mud tire with multiple plies is very, very hard to get on there without a machine. It's a little different with a dirt bike, but as you can see, I beat up this rim pretty freaking bad trying to get it on there. It took so much sealant. I had to bend this whole section back. That's just from trying to get the bead on there. I'm no expert in tire changing. I will not be doing that again myself, but she's holding air now. I ended up having to put 2 plugs in it. I ended up having to reseal the bead about 3 different times because it just had leaks. But this has been holding. I've inflated this way past the 7 psi it should be at. Mostly just to get the sealant to seal. So this is sitting at about 20 psi right now, and it hasn't dropped for 3 days. So soon I'm going to lower it back down, and it should be good to go. For the other side, brand new matching front tire. This wasn't cheap, but the Foreman seems like a great quad. I invested a little money. This was about 170 bucks Canadian, or Bald Eagle dollars. That's probably about 120 bucks. That's going to be going there, and these are also 10-inch wides, not 8-inch wides. It does require spacing out the lugs a bit. I ghetto space these with just a couple washers so it'll clear the coils, but I do have 5mm spacers on the way for the fronts to do it properly. That being said, I'm going to stop blabbering on, which I said I wouldn't do, and I already have, and let's cut to a time lapse of me tearing this old gal apart, and then when we're done there, we'll start assessing the damage. Onto the truck.
Under pressure, no more time. Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? 'Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through, a way to break through. Ooh, 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 a way to break through.
Alright guys, so as you saw, we ended up getting the right side front end completely disassembled. Brakes are off, the hub's off, upper and lower A-arms, as well as the shock brake lines. It's all disconnected now, and the tie rod as well. The reason I do this is since this is by far the worst part of it. This is going to be interesting to try and patch that. I'm going to have to basically do it in two parts, like a cap. Squish it together and weld it. But I'm going to have to grind back till I get good metal. So that's going to be tough. But this also allows me super easy access to get that differential out. So I think I'm going to skip to the next side. And I'm not going to show you guys that because I'm pretty sure the time lapse for just taking this apart is probably like 10 minutes already, and that's at 10 times the speed. So I'll pick up with you when the other side's completely disassembled like this, and then maybe I'll do a quick time lapse of the diff coming out. Shouldn't be too hard. If it's anything like the other 300, I think it's just 4 bolts. And then we'll assess all the rust and make a game plan of what we're going to do. Alright guys, catch back up with you in a minute. Got the other side off. Everything went pretty smooth. A lot smoother with this one than... here you are. Zip tied everything up out of the way so we can get to the diff. Get that out of there. Here's just a quick rundown. The ball joints and the tie rods are all 17 mil. The shock, 14 mil. There's a 12 mil and a 10 mil holding the brake hose onto the upper A-arm. The brake hose itself is a 12 millimeter, and then all the A-arms, all the 4 bolts for the A-arms, it's just a 14 mil nut and a 14 mil bolt. Moving on to the diff, I believe everything's also just double 14s. One thing I did find out, this was generic on both sides. The bushings for these are they're gone. The metal part was in there. It's sitting down. Well, I put all the parts away, but it's going to need new bushings, which isn't bad. They're only about $15 or something like that. But I thought I'd point that out. But let's get to me pulling that. Alright guys, I thought I'd stop this video there, the time lapse, and as we get into a point, well, this is the last bolt, and I've been pretty lucky taking apart this whole thing. The rest hasn't been, I'd like to say it's hindered me, but it hasn't beat me. But we get down to this last one here, and well, you see I got the breaker bar in there. You know what that means. She's stuck. And it's to the point now where something's going to let go. And it ain't my breaker bar, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to set the camera aside here. I think it's going to break. I genuinely do. I may go get my torch and try and heat up the other side of the bolt. Because, I mean, it's going to be... I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do if this breaks. Because it's... through the differential. It's gonna be terrible if that snaps. And I genuinely didn't anticipate this because the rest of them, like these, all came out not too bad at all, just with the 3/8. And this one's gonna give us a hard time. So let's see what happens. try to get as much of this, kindling out of there as possible, because you don't want to start a fire in your garage, guys. Also, watch out for grease and whatnot. I know that's hard sometimes, but... And also take into consideration when you're going to torch something, it's low proximity to any sort of rubber, any sort of gasket or bearing around there. Because as much as I'm trying to heat up this, it's going to heat up everything in that differential. Normally I'd have MAP gas on this too. Right now I'm just running the blue propane tank. But I burned all my MAP gas in my basement. Just lighting my wood stove up. So we'll keep this on there for a minute or two and then we'll try wrenching on her. Might even be running out of propane here. Alright, let's give this a go. You don't want to wait too long after. It will cool down pretty quick, especially with it being winter. But, let's see what happens, guys. Just gonna do something. I'm just bending the bolt. I can feel it. Best case scenario, it breaks at the other side. Worst case, oh, I don't even know, guys. Yeah, it's just twisting the bolt. Bad news bears. Guess I'm going out to get propane. Yeah, she did. I might even try it with the impact here. See if that can't break some of that stuff up in there. I might have to run out and get some MAP gas, guys. Try to get this thing blowing. I don't know how many more turns I'm going to get on it before she lets go on me. Yeah. I'm going to grab some more gas. Welcome back, guys. So went out, got a new bottle of MAP gas. If you guys don't know the difference, MAP gas and propane, it's very similar. The only difference is MAP gas, it can be used for brazing and soldering, just because it burns a bit hotter. So we have some great news here. I thought she was going to let it go. I soaked it with the flame for about 5 minutes, and she twisted out. This is a big win, and I'm glad I took the time to I actually go get the map gas. After years of working on this stuff and breaking countless bolts, and one bolt can turn into a 5-hour job, you just ruin your day. There's steps you can take, exhaust every single one of them before you just brute force it and break the bolt. Because if you break the bolt, I don't know what I would have done there. The shank of the bolt would have been stuck in the diff. I wouldn't be able to get the diff out. That's hardened steel. It's going to be near impossible to drill out. You're going to have to find some way to cut the welded on nut on the other side and try to hammer the bolts out. But it would have been lose-lose for everybody. So, great news. Now let's get this freaking diff out. As you guys saw, the diff's out. I got a little ahead of myself, but I got it up here on the bench, and I was just super excited to see. Well, I mean, I mostly just wanted to figure out what parts I need to. I opened it up, and the thing looks awesome. Like, teeth are all perfect, bearings are killer. There's nothing wrong with it. I had just assumed the teeth were stripped, but that'd be a hard thing to do. And then I pulled the drive shaft. So I had a hunch it was this, because I could see this spinning when it was in the bike, but it wasn't putting any power through. So, I mean, clearly this was fine. Somewhere from here on was going to be broken. And the best case scenario was it just stripped the teeth on the drive shaft completely. And these have been stripped for a long time. They're rusty. And in here too, I'll have to be replaced. But this was absolute best case scenario, because I should be able to get a used one of these for under $100, and it's going to take no special tools to change it out. So this is great news, guys. Super excited about that. Now I'm going to take the wire wheel to the frame and some brake cleaner. Ooh, there it is. And see what we're working with here. And then after that, I'll probably wrap it up for the day, because I've been at this for a long time. And maybe we'll start tackling patches in a couple of days, next weekend, maybe today. Alright guys, we're back. I just took the wire wheel to it, and let me give you guys a quick look at what we're working with. I don't think it's going to be... The hardest part's definitely right here. The rest of it's just holes in the bottom, which I can just... Yeah, well, here, let me find the pipe. I can just basically square off a section here, cut it off the wheel, patch it up because they're the same diameter, and then just tack, put a bead around it, and hopefully everything will be peachy. I don't know if you're going to call this a repair. I'm not sure. We'll see how it turns out. It might be a band-aid for now. I think a lot of people in this scenario would just try to hunt down a frame. But the work that goes into changing every single component over is, I think, far more than it would be to take a few days just to, you know, cut a few sections out, weld, and put her back together. I think this was maybe 1 or 2 more rides, 2 more hard rides away from just completely letting go. Even up here, it's starting to get rusty, and Hondas are known for letting go right at the shock mounts, especially the 300s, but you can tell. So I'm going to grind this all out, and when I'm done, I'm going to recoat everything here in paint, and hopefully me or somebody else is going to get at least another 4 or 5 more years out of this unit before it needs a full frame swap, or she's just done. But she's still good. Let's take a look underneath. So like I said, yeah, this is the worst of it here. I'm trying to figure out what's going to be the best route. I think I'm going to end up just cutting this plate out for now. I'll weld it back on after. And then I'm just going to... Oh, even here. Yeah, it's getting pretty bad. This I might still be able to patch. The top doesn't seem too bad. So I'll probably do full tube up to here. Full tube here. Try to cut it off there. And hopefully we can make that happen. The other side's similar, not as bad. So yeah, there's the hole here. Hole here. This is, guys, this is all from just hitting rocks and stuff. Wearing away the paint. And then the salt takes over here in Canada. And the northern states. People down in the south probably wouldn't have a damn clue about this shit, but it's bad. But it's at this X brace back here. I wonder if I could buy an X brace, because this looks like it was welded on. I'm gonna look on eBay. Maybe I'll be able to just purchase an X brace for a few bucks and cut this one out. But I'm gonna get to I'm gonna probably get to chopping now. Just so I'm gonna bring out the cutting disc and see if I can't start cutting this cancer out, and then we'll have a better idea of sort of what kind of metals and materials we're gonna need. Alright, let's do it. Just kidding, guys. I just realized I have an insane amount of footage, so I'm gonna have to probably call this video there, and the next one will pick up with the actual cutting and patching and painting of the frame. From here, it really shouldn't be too long. The hardest part was taking it apart. Cutting and patching, a few hours of work. Nothing I can't do within a day, but this episode would be hours if I don't end this one here. So we're gonna call this part 1, $100 Honda Foreman frame repair. Yeah, maybe we'll call it that. I don't know. But come back, tune back in. I know I haven't uploaded in a while. I'm finishing things up on work. I'm gonna be off for the next 3.5 weeks. So there's gonna be lots of content coming your way. Hopefully over the Christmas break I can get this old gal up and running. Well, at least with a solid frame and 4-wheel drive. And then it's just a few tiny... Figure out. We gotta find some sort of brakes for it, but we don't worry about that. And then figure out why it won't start from here, because I'm still jumping the solenoid. But come a long way. $100 bike, a lot of work, but hopefully it'll be a good return. Thanks for joining in.